This to me is shocking. I picture any bodybuilder, they would eat dirt if they knew that it was important. Coach Greg and Ronnie Coleman never eats vegetables. To me, this was shocking news when I heard it. I was like, really?
I didn't really eat any vegetables when I was dieting.
There's no way that this is true. And so people are sending me messages saying that Ronnie Coleman never ate any vegetables in his preparation for the Mr. Olympiad. I'm like, yeah, I don't believe it. They literally sent me the footage, said, watch this interview. And so Ronnie Coleman is being interviewed by Bradley Martin, and a question comes up about bulking in the offseason, tracking foods, calories, what did he eat, not eat, and so on. And so Tristan Lee, big fan of this idea. He's carnivore, and so why do you need to eat vegetables? And so let's hear from the horse's mouth, why is it that Ronnie Coleman never ate any vegetables?
If you're cutting or bulking, do you weigh your portions out?
Well, for me, I weighed and measured everything I ate my whole career.
And so Ronnie Coleman, willing to do anything and everything to win the Mr. Olympia titles. You've seen how he trains. Lightweight, baby! Lightweight! Pushing himself to the limit, training harder than last time, training harder than everyone. And with that, he won the Mr. Olympia 8 times. He has a famous saying, everyone want to be a bodybuilder, but no one want to eat any heavy ass weight. And so wait till you see what he's not willing to do. No problem. I will weigh and portion out every single meal. Whether I'm in a restaurant, at home, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna weigh it out. I'm going to be perfect. I want to win the title. But I ain't eat no vegetables. I mean, they don't taste good. And so that's quite literally his answer. He never ate vegetables because they don't taste good. So the saying should be,
Everybody want to be a bodybuilder?
but no one would eat the veggies. So we're willing to take PDs to train harder than last time, to diet and suffer, to go through all those tortures mentally, physically, everything. But eating vegetables, no. They don't taste good.
So you would never go to a restaurant?
I never ever went to a restaurant when I was dieting.
And so Ronnie, no way would he go to a restaurant when he was dieting. No way. Can't weigh out the foods. You don't know what you're eating. He had to be meticulous, perfect with his diet. Everything had to be weighed out. Everything had to be measured on point. After all, he won the Mr. Olympia 8 times. Must have been the way to do it. And so you can see he's so strict, so regimented that he does anything and everything to win that title. However, he won't do that.
But I won't do that.
That meatloaf?
A lot of people don't know this, but I didn't really eat any vegetables when I was dieting.
Okay, that's the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life.
No
The
green.
fact that you're not, like, you didn't
No
die,
green
like, I'm just,
whatsoever.
what the
Cookbook. And so Ronnie points out, I never ate any vegetables, no greens at all. And even Bradley Martin's like, really? Are you being serious? He's like, yeah, I never ate vegetables. Why? Well, they don't taste good. And so imagine you're willing to do anything and everything. You weigh out every single morsel of your food. You won't go to restaurants when you're dieting. You're training so hard that you end up injured in your later years, but you're not going to eat the vegetables because they don't taste good.
And your blood work was
Zero.
perfect?
Yeah.
Dude, you're a freak, man.
And it says his blood work was perfect. I highly doubt that while he was on cycle, dieting, training for the Mr. Olympia, that his blood work was perfect. Really, perfect in every way. Not one negative thing happened to his blood work. Really. Is that even remotely possible? And so yes, of course, genetics plays a huge role in this, but if you're going to abuse PDs, you can't kid yourself and think that your blood work is perfect. Perhaps it wasn't horrendously bad, but it certainly isn't perfect.
Not only did you get the genetics for the muscle maturity, but the genetics for the mental, like, acuity of, like, the craziness of I'm going to do, like, you were the perfect storm, the work ethic, everything that came along with it.
And so Bradley says, wow, your genetics clearly amazing, both mentally and physically. You could train that way, diet that hard, but yet he still couldn't eat vegetables. This to me is shocking. I picture any bodybuilder, they would eat dirt if they knew that it was important. They would eat anything and everything in order to win that title. And so we all know that vegetables are healthy, that we should in fact incorporate fruits and vegetables into our diets. Perhaps some people get away with not eating them, but I think we all know that they contain vitamins and minerals, fiber, that can be of benefit to our health. And so just because Ronnie Coleman doesn't eat any vegetables, I don't think other athletes should think, well, I'm not going to bother because he won 8 titles without it, and so I don't need it. He won despite the fact that he wasn't eating vegetables. And how do we know that that won't play a toll on his health in the future?
The stuff I learned from Flex and Kevin, the stuff that they taught me coming up.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about the sport, you know. I never wanted to be a bodybuilder.
And so Ronnie's saying he learned about bodybuilding through Kevin Levrone and Flex Wheeler, but apparently they didn't teach him that you're supposed to eat vegetables. I thought it was something our parents did when we were kids. You know, finish off your vegetables or you won't get any dessert. But apparently, bodybuilders no longer need to eat vegetables.
I had chicken with rice, steak, potato, and turkey every now and then.
And so what did he eat as a Mr. Olympia competitor? Well, chicken and rice, never eat the broccoli, steak and potato, hold the greens, or sometimes turkey. I mean, is it really this basic, this simple, that there's no variety? Trust me, you need to get in a variety of nutrients in order to grow effectively. You can't just eat the same thing day in, day out and have no variety in your diet. Variety is the spice of life. And unless you're Ronnie Coleman, avoiding fruits and vegetables and eating the same thing day after day, probably not going to work for you. Are you willing to weigh out every morsel of food that you're ever going to eat? To avoid restaurants because you just don't know what the calories in the foods you're about to eat are? To me, this is not worth it, and it is simply not necessary. Think of it. He weighed out all his foods, refused to go to a restaurant, but do you really think he wouldn't have won the Mr. Olympia had he gone to a restaurant and had a chicken salad? Would it ruin his physique to have a spinach salad with a side of steak? I don't think so. And arguably, perhaps it would have made it even better.
Why did you avoid veggies? You just didn't like them?
I just didn't like the way they taste.
And why did he avoid vegetables? I mean, after all, he's doing everything and anything to win the Mr. Olympia title. There must have been a reason for that. Caused bloating, stomach upset, he couldn't digest it properly. There must have been a medical, physical reason for his not eating vegetables, right? No, he didn't like the taste of it. He liked steak and potatoes. That was a great meal. And so the next time you think that all bodybuilders, they're just crazy animals, that they're willing to do anything and everything to win those titles, well, not all of them are willing to eat vegetables. Why? Because, well, they don't taste very good. And so what this really shows me is, well, we're all human. We might think that Ronnie Coleman is a machine, that he can just put himself through anything. Well, for the most part, he kind of is. But there is a weakness. His taste buds. The food needed to taste good. Now, perhaps if the food tasted better, like in my freaking cookbook, perhaps he would be eating them. If you don't like or love the foods that you're eating, how long do you think you're going to stick to that diet? With the cookbook, you'll not only like what you're eating, you will love it. Gone are the days where you need to diet on foods that are boring. Chicken and broccoli and rice, not for Ronnie Coleman, just chicken and rice. But if you want to feel full, satisfied, satiated, you need to eat more larger, voluminous meals. That is where the cookbook comes in. It has delicious, amazing, high-volume recipes for people who are big eaters. Highly suggest you click the link in the description. Go pick up one of the cookbooks today. Also, looking for harder than last time supplements, including testosterone, protein powder, pre-workouts, creatine. The list goes on and on. Click the link in the description, ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching, Greg Doucette IB Pro. Please check out the bloops. Also, join the newsletter list. Nearly 200,000 people have done so. We're giving away 5 free recipes from the cookbook. Also, free stuff every week. Also, we're going to be giving away a free training program, free nutrition program. That's right, free just for becoming a part of the nearly 200,000 subscribers. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm, and until next time, I am out.